Alright, today I wanted to tell you guys a little story. I know some people absolutely hate when I do these videos, and so I'm sorry. But I think this one will be good, okay? And it all started about a year ago. So as many of you know, I'm in college, and I have to go to my classes and whatnot every single day. So this was just one of those days. So on this random day of the week, whenever it was, I woke up, I went through my normal routine, went to my classes, and I was on my way home. But in order for me to get from my classes to my apartment, I ended up having to walk through this downtown area, like the city basically, which is not exactly a safe place, which, how do I say this? There's a lot of interesting things to see in the city. And it's just a normal city, you know, there's stores and there's roads. There's also people, but the people are where it's so ghetto. I'm just gonna say I feel like I'm gonna die every single time I walk down the sidewalk. But the catch is that it's like, I don't know how exactly I might die. Maybe like a stab wound, gunned down, or maybe one of the many drug addicts would be having a bad day and just want to take it out on them. There's basically just zombies everywhere. I've heard you can't walk into any of the stores if you have a black or white t-shirt on because they associate it with gang violence. I guess there's like gangs and one wears white shirts, some wear black shirts. I don't really enter the stores, so I don't really know what that means. I just play rank, but apparently that's a thing. I remember there's another story I told where I was walking to class and there's a sketchy guy walking towards me with his backpack, black jacket, a black t-shirt, and he's got his hood up. But remember, he has a black t-shirt on, and you're not supposed to wear a black t-shirt. Like, you shouldn't even see them around, you know what I'm saying? Because if you're in the city, why would you wear a black t-shirt when you're not even like can't go anywhere? So I'm thinking, okay, this guy's like in a gang, you know, and I'm like walking towards him. What am I gonna like turn around and like start walking the other way, and then he's like behind me still and he's still walking, and I'm, you know, that didn't make sense. I was kind of out of options. I just had to like keep walking by him and hope I didn't die. But there's something I didn't tell you, and that is that while I'm walking towards him, he's staring at me like dead, like
maximize elimination.
He's not like having a great day kind of like stare, just got 4-0'd. So that made me feel relatively uncomfortable. I generally do not get looked at that often. And then I proceed to witness this kind gentleman reach into his backpack, whip out an assault rifle, and aim it at my face. And so at this point, I'm like, all right, well, I'm dead, you know? Like, it's like, all right, you know, it's been a great life. We all have to make sacrifices. And then he proceeds to aim the weapon at me just like this, closes one eye, and then shoots 3 times. Except there wasn't actually a gun in the first place. It was just an error, like he was just like this. Now, at the time, I didn't see that. I actually thought he pulled something out because he did it so fast and like aimed at, and he's wearing all black, so it was like kind of all blending in, and like I thought I died for a second. Like, he shot at me and I was like, nothing happened. And I was like, wait, like, am I like in heaven? I've heard people say time slows down and stuff. So I was like, oh, maybe like it's slow-mo and like the bullet's coming at my face and it just hasn't hit me yet or something, you know? But no, it was just an air rifle. So that was a nice thing that he did. But he still aimed it like a pretend weapon at me and shot me. Like, that's not a normal thing that I would, you know, do. I saw one guy fighting a wall one time. He was like karate chopping and stuff, like freaking like going crazy. But there was nothing in front of it. It was just a wall. And my theory is that many of these people hang around the sidewalks in the city because that's like public space, you know? So it's like they're allowed to be there. The problem is I have to walk through the sidewalks to get back to my apartment, which I realized literally I'm just an idiot. On the second to last week of school, I realized there's a shortcut that got you from my apartment at the time to class way faster than going through the city, and it was way less dangerous, which explains the reason why there were no other students around me at the time. Basically risking my life for no reason. But anyway, on this random day, it was like a fall day, you know, the air was nice and cool. Just walking on the sidewalk. I was walking by a chain of stores, and then there was a red light, and I'd like crossed the road and stuff. The very end of the chain of stores was like a drive-through car wash kind of thing, like kind of on the side of all the buildings. And so because it's on the end of all the buildings, it's obviously like right in front of the red light where I have to like stand across the road and stuff. So like it's right next to me basically. And inside the car wash was not a car, but it was a man. And he was basically just screaming for no reason. Just screaming at, I don't even know what he was screaming at. Like, I'm telling you, top of his lungs screaming. Sitting down, but his arms were flailing everywhere. And so I walked by him and I, you know, was like, okay, that's mildly concerning. I hope I don't, you know, die. Hopefully everything's okay, you know? Like, I don't know. You know, maybe he has some personal issues going on. But I didn't want to make eye contact with him because I made that mistake before. So I walk by, I don't look at him. I just hope he's not flanking or anything. I start spam clicking the freaking cross the street button, you know, like freaking turn white, please. And then next thing I know, he's right behind me. Except he wasn't behind me because he was a completely different guy. And I suddenly heard this deep, scuffed voice behind me. Man, these tweakers are crazy. And I look over to my left and I see this gentleman who's, you know, a little shorter than me. He looks like he's in his 50s or 60s. He had like an Albert Einstein haircut, except he was bald on the top of his head. So it was all kind of like just pointing out of his, like the sides of his head. It was like if a white man tried to like grow an afro. And you could tell he's probably homeless. Like he had like older clothes on and stuff, but he was decently put together. He had some white and gray facial hair going on, you know, like a little goatee. To be honest, didn't really even hear what he said at first. I had to like kind of process it because I thought I was like getting sneak attacked. I thought Cav was about to interrogate me. And so my social instincts kicked in like they do whenever I'm talking to a woman or something. You get overwhelmed and you don't know what she said. And so I just agreed. I was like, yeah, I know, right? You know, like, yeah. Yeah. I said something like that. To be honest, I don't even remember what I said exactly because I was freaking freaking out. But after a second, I realized, okay, that's not the guy I have to be worried about. Like, this guy's just making a conversation with me, you know? The guy who's screaming is still over by the car wash. And so he started talking to me a little bit, you know, like very, very small talk stuff. And I was like, totally agree with you, sir. I can't believe that we got ourselves into this situation, you know? Please don't kill me. I had no idea what he was saying, but he was saying something, and then the light on the street ended up turning white. So we were now crossing the street, so we were kind of walking and talking to each other now. And that's when I started to pick up on like what he was actually saying, because at the same time, you gotta remember, like the guy's screaming in the background, so it's even harder to hear him then. So once we got a little bit away from the screaming, I was able to kind of better understand what this guy was saying. And so I'm listening to him talk. Man, one of these days, they're gonna send me back. I got a knife in my pocket. I've used it before. I'll use it again. And I'm like, yeah, it's a great idea. I don't know if that would necessarily be the best idea, but, you know, it's a great idea. And one of these days, I'm just gonna shank one of them. I'm just agreeing with him, you know, like, yeah, like I had the same thought, you know? And then this kind gentleman ended up he explained to me how earlier on in his life, he had made the mistake. He didn't say mistake, but he had been convicted of murder. In the past 30 years, he had been in prison. And he had just gotten out. At this point, I was, oh yeah, like I can't believe that they would do that to you, you know, like the justice system has failed us. I don't, please don't kill me, you know, I think, you know, we're doing great, like I love you. And instinctively, I'm like checking his hands, looking for weapons or something, like I'm like, why? Like, it's kind of weird that he's telling me. Then he proceeds to tell me how, like, you know, he's killed someone before and that he's willing to do it again, and if these homeless people keep screaming and tweaking out, like karate chopping the walls and like doing all this crazy stuff, he kindly explained to me how he's willing to go back to prison to eliminate one of these people for the better or worse of society. And I, you know, thought that was very noble of him. Have a nice day. All right, you have a good day. And then proceeded to wave me on, like walk in front of me. And I'm like, wait, like, okay, what? Telling me who just spent 30 years in prison for murder, and now you're asking me to walk in front of you with my back turned. Like I've been playing Siege for 10 years. I've made a lot of mistakes in this game, and I've been shot in the back a lot of the time. I'm not stupid, but I had no choice. So I ended up, you know, walking in front of him, and I just freaking like started freaking speed walking. I mean, in hindsight, he was a nice guy, maybe just a little troubled.